I'm Angela Scappatura from Canadian HR Reporter TV. This week's guest is Monica Belcourt. She's the director of the School of Human Resources Management at York University, and she's here to speak with us about succession planning. So how do employers identify high potential employees?
I think they use a variety of means. I think one of the worst things they can do is once a year get together, sit around the table and ask, well, what if the vice president of marketing leaves or dies? What are we going to do? Well, old Joe, he gets along well with everybody. He'd be fine for the job. I think that's the worst way to do it. I think the best way to do it is for companies to get together at least 3 or 4 times a year, bring in the candidates' profiles and rank them against one another. It forces them to make difficult decisions and discuss employees in terms of performance. In other words, Josephine was able to complete the project on time, on budget. Her turnover is 20% lower than in other units that are similar. She has high potential. That's one way to do it. Other companies also do things like replacement planning. Somebody's on maternity leave, so they test somebody out just to see whether or not they can handle the job, or they might do that for vacation leave. Others do it much more strategically. They think a person has potential. Maybe the person could be a CEO one day. So let's put that person in charge of a province for a year or two and see how he does.
Do you think high potential employees should be told that they're being groomed for senior management positions?
I think there's 2 points of view on this. One side says, tell them, because if you don't, they won't know why they're being given these assignments, why they're being groomed, and you have the potential of losing them because they think that the company isn't investing in them, doesn't have a place for them in the future. There are other people that say, no, do not tell them, because the employee will coast and will figure, I'm going to be crown prince, like Prince Charles. And then what happens if the queen never dies? And so then they get restless, or worse, and this happens lots of times, a person is being groomed for a position, and then when the time comes, the context of the organization has changed, and so that person isn't given the position. They are now really angry. But it also has effects on other people. For example, if a person is identified as a high potential and his colleague is not, the colleague may indeed decide, there's no future for me here and I'm leaving. And so it turns out maybe only about 1/3 of the companies actually tell their high potentials that they are high potential.
So what are some of the primary ingredients of a solid succession plan?
It is almost impossible to predict the future, but we can predict 2 to 3 years in advance. And so what we're trying to do is determine what are the key positions for which we need people. And then you identify the competencies that that person has to have and start developing them. And you can do this through coaching, counseling, you can do accelerated development, you can send them to executive education courses. There's all kinds of ways to do it.